Thank you, Angel, for being here this morning. Can you tell us your full name and how do you help clients?
Yes, I'm Angel B. Hartwell. And how I help clients is I actually take a stand for people who have big vision, who have had a spiritual awakening, usually, who are called often to quit the corner office and start something new. And how I work with them is I really help them lay out a clear strategy so that they can speak their truth and share their vision and make money.
I like it. Now, we've already met each other. We know each other from Steve Osher,
Mhm.
but we've gotten reacquainted in Clubhouse. So, my question is, what do you love most about Clubhouse?
Well, I think the thing I love, there's so many things. There's so many things that I love about Clubhouse. What do I love the most? I think what I love the most about Clubhouse is the level of access that's available to people that you'd never in a million years imagine that you could have access to. And so for me, that's probably number one, but I'm happy to give you number two and three.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. So number two is I really, really enjoy the audio format because it actually allows me to stay focused. We live in a world of so our attention is getting pulled that to actually condense our attention down into a single channel for me is really powerful. I think that's really powerful. And then the third reason I love Clubhouse is because it's a great place to connect with the people who might be a fit to work with me. So, monetization is a great reason to love Clubhouse.
So true. So, you have thousands of followers. How much time do you spend on Clubhouse?
Well, when I first got into Clubhouse, I actually gave myself permission. I gave myself a 3-week window, and I did three things in that 3-week window. One, I gave myself permission to just wander around and see what was happening and start to kind of get a clue as to, what was actually going on. Just it was like a learning, right? So I gave myself permission for the learning curve. The second thing that I did was I went into rooms where there was very specific things that I wanted to learn from very specific people, and I raised my hand, got up on stage, and spoke. And then the third thing that I did was I started rooms. I mean, I've been virtual speaking. I actually built my business over the last 13 years, primarily using virtual speaking. So for me, I'm like right at home with virtual speaking. And so starting rooms for me was like, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. But I didn't want to do it until I had clarity about, exactly what the hell I was doing. So
Gotcha. So, what cool connections have you made since you've been on the app?
yeah, so I ended up in a room with Justine Bateman, the actress Justine Bateman and film producer Justine Bateman. There was like 9 people in the room, and she was doing the title of the room was "You Don't Really Have Imposter Syndrome." And so what ended up happening in that room was Justine was actually doing mindset and kind of inner work with the people who stepped up on stage and raised their hands. So that was a good, interesting, and unusual and unexpected connection.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, how have you generated leads for your business by being on Clubhouse?
Well, obviously, speaking is the main way to generate leads. People can passively follow you if they see you up on stage. Sometimes people are passively following you or connecting with you because you're both in the same audience together. But to really like make it clear that you have a business, that you have something to offer, and that you are inviting in business, taking your own stage or sharing the stage. And what I have found is sharing the stage, particularly in, Club Pod has been one place, but also off club. So there's, now that extra layer has been added of having clubs. Um, for me, it's about stepping out, speaking about a specific topic. In my case, I usually talk about some form of prospering with podcasting and monetization. So I'm either speaking about speaking, I'm speaking about positioning, I'm speaking about prosperity and prospering, I'm speaking about monetization, I'm speaking about podcasting. All of those things together, those 5 kind of topic lines can weave together in a way that allows me to position myself as an authority and somebody who people can hire to help. So the first thing I would say is speak, put yourself out there, get on stage, be willing to make a fool of yourself, be willing to, call people out, call people to action, to stop taking notes and start taking action. I was in a room today listening, just as a listener, and somebody was like, "Oh, I've taken so many notes." And you and I both know, Miko, that you go to conference and you take notes and you come home and you stick the notes in the corner. And like, maybe if you do one little implementation thing, you're lucky. Most people who are really interested in creating a significant change in their life, and for anybody who's like quitting the corner office, that's a pretty significant change that they're going to be making in their life, to step onto the stage and start sharing their message. If you really want to make that kind of a change, it is very important to be not invested and implementing, not just ingesting the information. Make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
implement.
So I call people to action, and I do it in a number of ways. Depends on where I'm at. In Club Pod, there's rules. So I follow the rules in Club Pod, and the rules there, you can offer a lead magnet 1 for 1 every time you mention Podcast Magazine. So you and I are both category directors for Podcast Magazine. So we repeatedly offer Podcast Magazine to the audience. And every time we offer Podcast Magazine to the audience, then we can offer our lead magnet. And so my lead magnet in there is the 27 hot tips for getting booked on virtual stages. And then that brings people who are really interested in me and what I have to offer into my ecosystem. When I'm outside of Club Pod, or if somebody directly asks me when I'm answering questions from the stage, I'm not going to ignore them. If somebody directly asks me and it feels to me like there's a good fit for a potential conversation, then I invite people to apply for a conversation. So basically, the 2 ways that I'm lead generating are 27 hot tips for getting booked on virtual stages, which is a free lead magnet, or apply for a complimentary conversation with me. And not everybody gets a conversation with me, but there have been a couple of conversations that I've had with people, and one of them has converted into a 5-figure payday. So I'm down for that.
Awesome. I was going to ask you about that because in your bio, you say, ask me about the 5-figure podcast Payday. So what exactly is that?
Well, I have a business model that my podcast serves my business serves my life, and my life serves my purpose. So for me, it's very important that I have lots of spaciousness in my life so that I'm coming from a full to overflowing cup. So when I'm serving people, I'm serving from my overflow. I'm not in scarcity myself, health-wise, spiritually, emotionally, physically. So I'm very clear about my needs, and I need plenty of time in the summer. I take almost the whole summer off. I need a lot of time out in nature. I need a lot of time in my art studio. And so I have a business model that allows me to fuel that lifestyle, which requires large investments for very deep work that is intended to get very swift results at a very high investment. And so when people come to work with me, I consult with them either on strategy or on the creation of their body of work, their unique body of work that allows them to convert their wisdom into wealth. And it's a 5-figure investment, anywhere from $10,000 to $99,999. So yeah. And I like to work with people who are really, really ready to do it. Like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this thing, and we're going to go deep, and we're going to excavate all of the fears and all of the mindset blocks and all of the trauma maybe that is keeping people from actualizing the calling that they're receiving. And then we practically structure around that a business model for them that serves their lifestyle.
Wow, thanks so much. And one last question. If someone is just jumping on Clubhouse, what is one tip you can give them to be successful?
Yeah, give yourself 3 weeks. Give yourself 3 weeks and like really give yourself permission to carve out the time to be a listener, to be a learner, and then to leap up on stage and let other people know that you have something of value to offer and to leverage that into a lucrative income.
I like that. Listen, learn, and leap. Thank you, Angel, for being with us today. And where can people find you online?
So they can find me at www.wealthylifementor.com. There's a nice fun quiz there that they can take to see what their wealth readiness is. And I'm also an internationally ranked #1 and People's Choice Award winning podcast host. So they can also listen in at wickedlysmartwomen.com.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, and we will see you in Clubhouse.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.